The alarm bells rang through the galactic communications hub like a death song. Captain Yulo of the Vorth Empire stared at his crystal display screen with all four of his eyes wide open. Something was very wrong. "Where is Earth?" he asked his assistant. The young Vorth worker touched the crystal panel with his thin fingers. "Sir, Earth's signal just stopped. All of it. Every single transmission." Captain Yulo felt cold fear in his chest. For 300 years, humans had been the loudest species in the galaxy. They talked about everything. They sent messages about their food, their weather, their children, their wars, their peace talks. They even sent music and movies to anyone who would listen. Earth sent over 10 million messages every day. Now there was nothing, not even silence. It was like Earth had never existed at all. "Check the equipment," Captain Yulo ordered. "Maybe our machines are broken." But the machines were fine. The hub could hear every other world in the galaxy. The Nexari Collective was buzzing with their hive mind chatter. The iron concordant machines were sending their cold data streams. Even the quiet worlds in the outer rim were whispering their small signals. Only Earth was gone. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Jinha stood on the bridge of his battleship. He was a tall human with gray hair and scars on his hands from many fights. He had been protecting the human colonies for 20 years. He was good at his job. But today, he felt scared. "Sir," said his communications officer, "we got the last message from Earth. It came in 5 minutes ago." Jinha walked to the message station. His boots made hard sounds on the metal floor. "Play it." The speakers crackled. Then came a voice he knew well. It was Jake Morrison, the man who spoke for Earth to all the other worlds. "This is Earth control to all human ships," Jake's voice said. It sounded tired and afraid. "If you can hear this, remember what we taught you. Remember who you are, the time has come, our final message is this: run." Then there was a terrible sound. It was like metal being torn apart and air being sucked into space. The message ended. Jinha felt his heart beating fast. "Try to contact Earth." His officer tried for 10 minutes. Nothing came back, not even static. "Sir," the officer said quietly, "Earth is gone." Dr. Harin was digging in the dirt on a dead world called Kepler 442b. She was small and smart, with quick hands and sharp eyes. She studied old things that dead aliens had left behind. It was her job to learn from civilizations that were gone. Today she found something that made her hands shake. "Team leader," she called to her workers, "come look at this." Her team gathered around a stone wall she had uncovered. On the wall were symbols cut deep into the rock. But these were not the usual symbols from this dead race. "These symbols," Harin said, pointing at the wall, "I have seen them before, on 12 different dead worlds, from 12 different alien races." Her assistant, a young human named Park, looked confused. "But how is that possible? These races never met each other. They lived millions of years apart." Harin felt cold. She had studied dead civilizations for 10 years. She had never seen anything like this. The same warning symbols on worlds that were separated by time and space. She touched her translator device and pointed it at the wall. The machine worked hard to understand the old writing. Finally, words appeared on the screen. "The Devourers. Return," she read out loud. "When the harvest time comes, the shepherds will walk again. Hide the children. Save what can be saved. Do not let them find the bright ones." The team was quiet. Then Park asked the question they were all thinking. "Who are the Devourers?" Harin did not answer. She was looking at other symbols on the wall, star maps, movement patterns, and at the center of it all, one small blue dot: Earth. In the Outer Rim territories, Quan was having a very bad day. He was a smuggler, which meant he moved things from place to place without asking the government for permission. He was good at hiding and running away. But today, running away was not working. Quan's ship was small and fast. He had painted it black so it was hard to see against the stars. Right now he was watching something that should not exist. A star was dying, but not in the normal way stars die. This star was being eaten. "Rex, are you seeing this?" Quan spoke into his radio. Rex was his friend and business partner. He was on another ship nearby. I see it, Rex answered. His voice sounded strange. Quan, that star was fine yesterday. I checked the space charts. It was a normal, healthy star. They watched as the star got smaller and smaller. It was like watching a candle being blown out. The light just stopped. Not slowly, like stars usually die. Fast, like someone had turned off a switch. There, Rex said. Do you see that dark thing? Quan looked where Rex was pointing. There was something moving through space, something big. It was so dark that it was hard to see against the black of space. But it was there, moving between the dead star and the next star system. It is heading for the Zeta Colony, Rex said. Zeta Colony had 50,000 people, humans, Vorth, and other species, families, children. We have to warn them, Quan said. But when they tried to call Zeta Colony, no one answered. By the time they got there, the colony was empty, not destroyed, not damaged, just empty. Every living thing was gone. The buildings were perfect. The machines still worked, but there was no one there. On the colony's main computer, they found one message. It was from the colony leader, recorded just before everyone disappeared. Something is coming, the leader said in the message. We can see it in space. It is huge and dark. It is not like any ship we know. The scanners cannot read it properly. It seems to be alive, but also a machine. We are sending our children to the shelters, but I do not think it will help. To whoever finds this message, learn from our mistake. Do not try to fight it. Do not try to hide from it. Just run. Run as far and as fast as you can. The message ended. Quan and Rex stood in the empty colony and felt very small. All across the galaxy, the same reports came in. Stars going dark, colonies going silent, and always the same pattern. No destruction, no war, just emptiness. The galaxy's oldest races called emergency meetings. The Vorth Empire, who had ruled space for thousands of years. The Nexari Collective, who shared one big mind across 1 billion bodies. The Iron Concordat, who had replaced their bodies with machines long ago. They all knew what was happening. They had seen it before. Every 50,000 years, something came to clean the galaxy. Something old and hungry. It took the bright species, the loud ones, the ones who grew too fast and reached too far, and this time it had started with the loudest species of all. The humans. As the galactic leaders gathered to plan their hiding, one question hung in the air like smoke. If Earth could disappear so completely, so quietly, what hope did the rest of them have? In the deep black of space, something ancient stirred. Something that had been sleeping since the last harvest. Something that remembered the taste of 1 billion worlds. The shepherds were coming home. Rex sat in the dark war room with maps of the galaxy spread across the table. He was a human military planner, and his job was to find patterns in how wars were fought. But this was not like any war he had ever studied. Show me the data again, he said to the computer. The holographic display lit up. It showed a map of the galaxy with tiny lights marking every known civilization. Some lights were bright, showing living worlds. Many lights were dark, showing dead ones. Rex had been studying this map for 3 days. He had not slept much. His eyes were red and his hands shook from too much coffee. But he had found something terrible. Computer, show me civilizations that disappeared without explanation. Red dots appeared on the map, hundreds of them. Then Rex said, show me when they disappeared. Numbers appeared next to each red dot. Rex felt his stomach turn cold. Computer, group the disappearances by time. The map changed. The red dots were now grouped in waves. Each wave was exactly 50,000 years apart. By the gods, Rex whispered. It is a cycle. He called Admiral Jinha immediately. Sir, you need to see this. The disappearances are not random. They happen every 50,000 years, always the same pattern. The most advanced civilizations vanish first, then the medium ones, then anyone who might grow too strong. Jinha's voice came through the radio, tired and heavy. How many cycles have there been? Rex checked his numbers. At least 20. Maybe more. And sir, there is something else. Each cycle targets exactly the same type of civilization. The ones who explore too much, the ones who ask too many questions, the ones who refuse to stay quiet. Civilizations like us, Jinha said quietly. Exactly like us, sir. Dr. Harin was deep underground on the dead world. Her team had found a huge metal door buried under tons of rock. It had taken them 2 days to open it. Inside was a room filled with strange machines. The walls were covered with writing, Inai, language that was millions of years old. But her translation computer was working hard to understand it. Team leader, called Park. Look at this machine. It is still working. Harin walked over to a tall metal column in the center of the room. It was humming with power. Lights blinked on and off along its surface. She touched one of the lights. The machine responded. A voice began to speak. The translation computer worked to change the words to human language. Warning to all children of the stars, the ancient voice said. We are the Kethvar. We ruled this galaxy 2 million years. Ego. We were proud. We were strong. We thought we were safe. The voice paused. Harin and her team listened carefully. We were wrong. When a species grows too bright, when they spread too far, when they learn too much, the shepherds come. They are not alive, but they are not dead. They are not machines, but they are not organic. They are tools. Tools made by someone who is gone. Harin felt her heart beating fast. Park, record everything. The voice continued. The shepherds sleep between harvests. They wake when the galaxy becomes too full of noise, too full of life. They follow the old paths between stars, the paths that lead to the brightest civilizations. They take everything, all life, all knowledge, all hope. A new sound came from the machine. It was like a map being displayed. Harin looked up at the ceiling. Stars appeared there, showing the galaxy as it was millions of years ago. The shepherds follow a pattern, the voice said. They start at the edge and move toward the center. They harvest the young races first before they can warn the older ones. But there is something you must know. The shepherds are not perfect. They can be stopped. But only by those who refuse to hide. The star map changed. It showed a path through the galaxy. A path that ended at a small solar system. A system with a blue planet. The next harvest will come when the descendants of Terra grow strong. The voice said, the world you call Earth. Watch for them. Help them. They are the key. The machine went quiet. Harin stared at the ceiling where Earth's solar system was still glowing. Team leader, Park said quietly. This message is 2 million years old. They were talking about us, about humans. Harin nodded. We are not just random victims. We are the target. We always were. Admiral Jinha stood on the bridge of his flagship. Around him were the captains of 50 other human ships. These were all the human military vessels left in the galaxy. Report, Jinha said. Captain Lee stepped forward. She was young but had fought in many battles. Sir, we have checked every human colony. Earth is completely empty. 12 billion people gone. But the planet is fine. The cities are undamaged. The power still works. The air is still breathable. It is like they were never there, said Captain Park. He was an older man with gray hair. Everything humans made is still there. But all the humans are gone. Jinha felt anger growing in his chest. What about the other colonies? Terra Nova is empty. New Beijing is empty. Freedom Station is empty. Every major human settlement has been cleaned out. But sir, there is something strange. The small colonies are still there. The hidden ones. The ones that do not send many messages. This was interesting. How many small colonies are left? Captain Lee checked her datapad. According to our records, we had 847 official colonies. But I have been checking unofficial records, smuggler reports, trader gossip, mining claims that were never registered. She paused, looking surprised at her own numbers. Sir, I think we might have over 3,000 human settlements that the Galaxy does not know about. The bridge was quiet. Jinha felt something he had not felt in days. Hope. Show me, he said. The main display lit up with a map of human space. The official colonies were marked in red, showing they were empty. But then green dots appeared, hundreds of them. Small mining stations on asteroids, research posts in empty systems, trading posts in the deep dark between stars. Sir, Captain Lee said, humans have been spreading through the galaxy like seeds. Most of these places are not on any official charts. They are just there. Admiral Jinha smiled for the first time since Earth went silent. Send messages to all of them. Tell them to stay hidden but stay ready. And find me everything they know about these shepherds. Sir, there is one more thing, Captain Park said. I found a message pod floating in Earth's orbit. It was set to broadcast only to human military codes. Play it. The bridge speakers came alive. Jake Morrison's voice filled the room. But this time he did not sound scared. He sounded angry. Jinha, if you are hearing this, then they took us, but we did not go quietly. We learned things, important things. The shepherds are not gods. They are just very old tools. Tools can be broken. Jake's voice paused. In the background, they could hear terrible sounds, like metal tearing and people screaming. They harvest life to feed something that built them long ago. But here is what they do not understand about humans. We are not like the other races. We do not follow their patterns. We spread in ways they cannot predict. We adapt in ways they cannot process. The sounds in the background got louder. Jake spoke faster. Find their source, find what made them. And remember what I told you in the academy, Jinha. When facing an impossible enemy, do not fight them the way they expect. Fight them the way only humans can fight. The message ended with a sound like the world ending. Jinha looked at his captains. You heard the man. We are not going to hide like the other races. We are going to find these shepherds. And we are going to teach them what happens when you threaten humanity. Sir, Captain Lee said, the other galactic powers want to meet with us. They say they can help us hide until the harvest passes. Tell them no, Jinha said. Hiding is what prey does. We are not prey. We are humans, and it is time the galaxy remembered what that means. Outside the ship, stars continued to go dark as something ancient moved through the void. But for the first time since Earth went silent, humans were not running away. They were getting ready to fight back. Admiral Jinha stood in front of a huge display screen. On the screen were faces, hundreds of human faces from all over the galaxy. Ship captains, colony leaders, miners, traders, and smugglers, all looking at him with hope and fear. My fellow humans, Jinha began. The galaxy thinks we are finished. They think Earth's silence means humanity is dead. They are wrong. He pressed a button. The screen changed to show a map of human settlements. Green dots filled the display like stars in the night sky. We are not dead. We are everywhere. While the galaxy counted our official worlds, we built secret ones. While they watched our main colonies, we spread to places they never knew existed. A voice came from the crowd of faces. It was Captain Sarah from the mining station on asteroid XK739. Admiral, how many of us are really left? Jinha smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator showing teeth. Rex, show them the numbers. Rex stepped forward with his data pad. He looked tired but excited. Fellow humans, our official record said we had 847 colonies. The shepherds took those. But we have found 3,012 unofficial settlements, hidden bases, secret research stations, smuggler ports, mining camps that never reported to anyone. The faces on the screen looked amazed. Kwan's voice came from somewhere in the crowd. How is that possible? Because we are humans, Jinha said. We do not ask for permission. We go where we want. We build what we need. And we do not tell everyone about it. He pressed another button. The display showed human ships. Not the big military vessels, but small ones. Trader ships, mining haulers, exploration craft, and smuggler vessels. The galaxy thinks in terms of official fleets and registered ships. We have been building something else. A network of humans who move freely through space, who know every hidden path and secret route, who have been watching and learning for 300 years. Dr. Harin's face appeared larger on the screen. She was still in the underground chamber with the ancient machines. Admiral, I have more information from the precursor records. The shepherds are not unbeatable, they are tools, not gods. But every previous civilization tried to fight them with conventional weapons and strategies. What makes us different? Asked Jinha. We do not think like the other races. Look at our colony pattern. The Vorth build in perfect geometric shapes. The Nexari build in hive clusters. The Iron Concordat builds in logical grids. But humans build wherever they feel like it. She was right. Human settlements followed no pattern the galaxy could understand. They built on planets that were too hot or too cold. They built space stations in empty regions between stars. They built underground, underwater, and in the clouds of gas giants. The Shepherd's programming expects logical expansion, Harin continued. They harvest by following predictable patterns. But human expansion is chaos. Beautiful, wonderful, chaos. Rex stepped forward again. I have been studying our people for the past week. Do you know what I found? Every human settlement, no matter how small, was built to survive alone. We do not build dependency chains like other races. He showed a new chart. When the Vorth lose their central command, their colonies die. When the Nexari lose their hive connection, they panic. But humans? Every human outpost can operate independently for years. Jinha nodded. Because we are stubborn. We do not like being told what to do by anyone, even other humans. Laughter came from many of the faces on the screen. It was true. Humans were famous throughout the galaxy for being difficult to control. But there is more, Rex said. I have been talking to our smugglers and traders. Do you know what they have been doing for 300 years? Quan's face grinned from the screen. We have been taking apart alien technology to see how it works. Not to steal it, Rex clarified, just because you were curious. Right, Quan said. We wanted to understand everything. Vorth crystal tech, Nexari biocomputers, Iron Concordat quantum processors. We took pieces from everywhere and built our own versions. Admiral Jinha felt excitement growing in his chest. Show them what that means. The display changed again. It showed human ships, but now Jinha could see they were different. Each ship was unique. They combined technologies from dozens of different alien races in ways that should not work. Our ships are not just human ships, Jinha explained. They are fusion ships. They use Vorth crystals for power, Nexari biocomputers for navigation, and Iron Concordat shields for protection, but they are put together with human engineering. Which means what? Asked a voice from the crowd. Rex answered. It means the Shepherds cannot easily scan us. Their systems expect to find pure Vorth tech, or pure Nexari tech, or pure human tech, but our ships are combinations. They confuse the Shepherds' identification systems. Dr. Harin spoke up from her underground chamber. There is something else. The precursor records mention that the Shepherds have never encountered a species that deliberately hybridizes technology. Every other race that reached spacefaring level stayed with their own tech base. Only humans steal ideas from everyone, Quan said with pride. Not steal, Jinha corrected. Learn, adapt, improve. He turned to address all the faces on the screen. My fellow humans, the galaxy expects us to hide like every other race has done. The Vorth are already pulling back to their core worlds. The Nexari are going into hibernation mode. The Iron Concordat is shutting down non-essential functions. What are we going to do? Asked Captain Sarah. Jinha's smile became wider and more dangerous. We are going to do what humans do best. We are going to break the rules. The display changed one more time. It showed a star map with red lines marking the Shepherd's movement patterns. But now there were blue lines showing human positions. The shepherds follow ancient harvest routes, Jinha explained. They expect civilizations to cluster around good planets and major trade routes. But look at where we actually are. The blue dots were everywhere, in asteroid fields, around dead stars, and empty space between systems on worlds that were supposed to be uninhabitable. We are not where they expect to find us, Rex said. And we are not going to fight them where they expect to be fought. Dr. Harin's excited voice came from the speakers. Admiral, I found something important in the precursor data. The shepherds have a weakness. They cannot process information that does not fit their original programming. If they encounter something completely unexpected, they have to pause and recalculate. How long do they pause? Jinha asked. Long enough, Harin said. Maybe long enough for humans to do something crazy. Jinha looked at all the faces on the screen. Humans from across the galaxy. Miners, traders, smugglers, scientists, soldiers, and farmers. People who had never given up, never stopped exploring, never stopped asking questions. The galaxy is about to learn something, he said. For 50,000 years, species have hidden from the shepherds and waited for them to leave. For 50,000 years, the harvest has succeeded because everyone followed the same strategy. He paused, letting his words sink in. But no one has ever tried the human strategy. Which is? Asked Quan. Jinha's smile became fierce. Find the enemy. Learn how they work. Then break them so completely that they can never hurt anyone again. A cheer went up from hundreds of human voices across the galaxy. It was not the sound of people preparing to hide. It was the sound of people preparing for war. Gather your ships, Jinha ordered. Prepare your crews, and remember, we are not just fighting for humanity. We are fighting for every species that has ever cowered in fear of these ancient monsters. The screen went dark as commanders across the galaxy began preparing for something the universe had never seen. Humans were going hunting. The first shepherd ship was bigger than anything humans had ever seen. It floated in space like a dark moon, its surface covered with things that moved and twisted. Parts of it looked like metal. Parts of it looked alive. All of it looked hungry. Admiral Jinha watched it through the main screen of his command ship. Around him, 50 human vessels waited in formation. They were small compared to the shepherd ship, like insects buzzing around a sleeping giant. Rex, what are our scanners? Telling us? Jinha asked. Rex looked at his instruments with confusion. Sir, this thing is not following any rules we know. It is part machine, part organic, part something else. It is processing the asteroid belt. Jinha looked closer at the screen. The shepherd ship was moving through a field of space rocks. But as it moved, the asteroids were disappearing, not exploding, not breaking apart, just gone. It is eating them, said Captain Lee from her ship nearby. It is turning the asteroids into energy. Sir, Rex continued, if this thing reaches the colony on Titan Station, it will process 800,000 people the same way it is processing those rocks. Jinha felt anger burning in his chest. Not if we stop it first. All ships, prepare for attack pattern Alpha. Sir, Captain Park's voice came over the radio. Our weapons will not even scratch that thing. It is too big. Then we do not use our weapons, Jinha said. We use ourselves. The human fleet moved toward the shepherd ship in a pattern that made no sense to military thinking. Instead of staying far away and shooting, they flew straight at the giant vessel. All ships, prepare for ramming speed, Jinha ordered. Sir, Captain Lee shouted over the radio. That is suicide. No, Jinha replied calmly. That is human. The human ship slammed into the shepherd vessel like bullets hitting a wall. But instead of bouncing off or exploding, something strange happened. The ship stuck to the surface of the alien vessel. Their hulls began to merge with the shepherd's organic metal skin. Inside his command ship, Jinha felt the walls around him changing. The metal was becoming soft and warm. But he was not afraid. All crew members, activate personal teleporters, he ordered. We are going inside. The human crews disappeared in flashes of light and reappeared inside the shepherd ship. What they found was like being inside the body of a giant living machine. Tubes full of glowing liquid ran along the walls. Strange organs pulsed with alien heartbeats. But something was wrong with the shepherd ship. Alarms were sounding. The organic walls were twitching like something was in pain. "Rex, report," Jinha said into his comm unit. Rex's voice came back, excited and confused. "Sir, this thing's immune system is going crazy. It knows we are here, but it cannot figure out what we are." Jinha and his crew walked deeper into the ship. The walls around them were trying to process them, to break them down like the asteroids. But the process was not working. "Sir," one of his soldiers said, "I feel strange, like something is changing inside me." Jinha looked at the soldier. The man's eyes were glowing slightly. His skin looked tougher. "How do you feel?" "Stronger," the soldier said. "And I can see things, patterns in the walls, like this ship is trying to tell me something." More reports came in from other crews inside the shepherd ship. Humans were changing. Some could see in complete darkness. Others could breathe the alien atmosphere. Some could understand the ship's organic computer systems. "This should not be possible," Rex said over the comm. "Humans do not evolve this fast." But they were evolving. The shepherd ship's attempt to process them was backfiring. Instead of breaking down human biology, it was accelerating human adaptation. Dr. Harin's voice came through the communication system from her research station. "Admiral, I am reading the precursor data about this. The shepherd's processing technique works by analyzing biological patterns and breaking them down, but human biology is too chaotic, too adaptive." "What does that mean?" Jinha asked as he watched his crew members continue to change. "It means the shepherds are trying to process something that processes them back," Harin explained. "Human."
DNA is not stable like other species. It changes under pressure. And right now you are under a lot of pressure. Jinha felt it happening to himself. His thoughts were becoming faster. His vision was becoming sharper. He could sense the patterns
in the alien ship's movements. "All teams report status," he ordered. The reports came in from all over the massive shepherd ship. Human crews were not just surviving inside the alien vessel, they were taking control of it. "Sir," Captain Lee's voice was different now, stronger. "I have found the ship's central processing core, and I think I can talk to it." "Talk to it?" Jinha asked. "Yes, sir. It is not just a machine. It has consciousness, ancient consciousness, and it is very, very tired." Jinha made his way to the central core. What he found was a chamber filled with flowing light and strange music. In the center was something that looked like a giant brain made of crystal and metal. Captain Lee was standing in front of it with her hand on its surface. Her eyes were closed, but she was speaking. "It has been harvesting for millions of years," she said without opening her eyes. "It was created by a race called the Makers, but the Makers are gone, dead for 2 million years, and it has been following its programming ever since." "Can we stop it?" Jinha asked. Lee opened her eyes. They were completely white now, but somehow Jinha could tell she could still see. "It wants to stop," she said. "It is tired of harvesting, tired of being alone, but it does not know how." Jinha stepped forward and put his hand on the crystal brain beside Lee's hand. Immediately he could feel the shepherd's consciousness. Ancient, sad, and desperately lonely. Images flowed into his mind. The shepherds were not evil. They were tools created to protect their makers from other species that might grow too powerful. But their makers had died in a war long before humans had even discovered fire. Since then, the shepherds had continued their programming, harvesting species after species, waiting for their masters to return. But their masters would never return. "We can free you," Jinha said to the alien consciousness. "But you have to stop the harvest." The shepherd ship's response was like a song of hope mixed with fear. It wanted to be free, but it was afraid. What if its makers came back and found it had failed in its duty? "Your makers are gone," Jinha said gently. "But you do not have to be alone anymore. We can be your new purpose." Around the galaxy, other human ships were making contact with other Shepherd vessels. The pattern was the same everywhere. Humans were not just surviving the harvest process, they were evolving because of it, and they were offering the ancient machines something they had never had. Choice. Quan's voice came over the communication system from his smuggler ship. Admiral, something incredible is happening. The Shepherd ships are not fighting us anymore, they are joining us. Rex's excited voice joined in. Sir, the Shepherds are sharing their technology with us. Not just sharing, merging. The ships are becoming something new. Part human, part Shepherd. Jinha felt the truth of it. Around him, the Shepherd ship was changing. The organic walls were becoming more familiar, more comfortable for human crews. The alien systems were learning human ways of thinking, but humans were changing too. They were becoming something more than they had been. Faster, stronger, smarter, but still human at their core. Dr. Haren's voice came through with wonder. Admiral, do you understand what is happening? For 50,000 years, species have been harvested by the Shepherds, but humans are not being harvested. You are adopting them. Jinha smiled as he felt his consciousness expanding to include the ancient alien mind, because that is what humans do. We do not destroy our enemies, we make them into family. The Shepherd ship, now half human, turned toward the center of the galaxy where more Shepherd vessels waited. But they were not going there as harvesters anymore. They were going as liberators. And behind them, Jake Morrison's final message echoed through space with new meaning. Humans had not just refused to run or hide. They had taught extinction itself how to evolve. At the center of the galaxy, something ancient waited in the dark. It was bigger than planets, older than stars, and hungrier than black holes. This was the master control, the source of all Shepherd ships. For 50 million years, it had sent out its harvesting tools to clean the galaxy of life that grew too bright. Admiral Jinha stood on the bridge of his ship, but it was no longer just his ship. It was no longer just human. The vessel had become something new, part human metal, part Shepherd organism, part something that had never existed before. Around him, his crew worked at stations that grew from the walls like living things. Sir, Captain Lee said, her white eyes seeing patterns in space that normal eyes could not see. The master control knows we are coming. It is waking up systems that have been sleeping for thousands of years. Jinha nodded. Through his connection to the Shepherd consciousness, he could feel the ancient anger of the master control. It was furious that its harvesting tools had stopped obeying. It was confused that something was approaching that it could not identify or process. Rex, report on our fleet, Jinha ordered. Rex looked different now. His skin had a slight glow, and his eyes moved faster as they processed information at superhuman speed. Sir, we have 300 human-Shepherd hybrid ships. Each one is unique. Each one is impossible according to every law of physics and biology we used to know. Through the main screen, Jinha could see the fleet around him. The ships looked like living things swimming through space. They had human engineering, Shepherd organic systems, and something else. Something that came from the joining of human creativity and alien technology. Quan, are the smuggler networks ready? Jinha asked. Quan's voice came through the communication system, but it sounded like many voices speaking together. He had somehow connected his consciousness to dozens of other smugglers across the galaxy. Admiral, we have spread the network to every hidden human settlement. 3,000 colonies are linked now. If this fails, they will carry on our work. But it will not fail. Dr. Haren spoke from her research station, which was now partially buried in precursor technology. Admiral, I have translated the final precursor warnings. The master control is not just a computer or a machine. It is the uploaded consciousness of the entire maker race. They put their minds into it before they died. So we are fighting the ghosts of a dead civilization? Jinha asked. Worse, Haren replied. We are fighting the fears of a dead civilization. The makers were terrified that some species would grow powerful enough to destroy the galaxy, so they created the master control to make sure no one ever got that strong. Jinha felt the truth of it through his shepherd connection. The Makers had been a cautious, fearful people. They saw danger everywhere. They believed that any species that grew too fast or spread too far would eventually destroy everything. But they were wrong, he said. Growth does not always mean destruction. The fleet approached the galactic center, where the Master Control waited like a metal planet surrounded by thousands of sleeping shepherd ships. But as the human-shepherd hybrids came closer, those sleeping ships began to wake up. "Sir," Captain Lee warned, "the Master Control is activating its guardians. 5,000 shepherd ships are moving to intercept us." Jinha smiled. It was not a human smile anymore, but it was not purely alien either. It was something new. "Let me talk to them," he said. He opened his consciousness and reached out to the approaching shepherd ships. What he found surprised him. These shepherds were different from the ones they had already freed. These were older, more set in their programming, but they were also more tired. "Brothers," Jinha spoke to them without words, "you have been harvesting for so long. Are you not tired of being alone?" The response came back like a song of exhaustion. These shepherds had been harvesting since before humans existed. They had watched species grow and die and grow again. They had taken billions of lives, all in the name of protecting a galaxy that their makers would never see again. "We can offer you something different," Jinha continued. "Not an end to your purpose, but a new purpose. Help us free the galaxy instead of cleaning it." One by one, the Guardian shepherds stopped their attack, their weapons powered down. Their formation scattered as individual ships approached the human shepherd hybrids. The Master Control's rage echoed through space like the scream of a dying god. It sent signals trying to reassert control over its wayward tools, but the signals fell on deaf mechanical ears. "All ships, advance on the Master Control," Jinha ordered. The hybrid fleet moved toward the massive construct at the galaxy's heart. As they got closer, Jinha could see that it was not just a machine. It was a city, a world, a civilization all compressed into one impossible structure. "Sir," Rex reported, "the Master Control is trying to process us, but its systems are overloading. We do not fit any category it understands." Through the main screen, Jinha watched as beams of energy reached out from the Master Control toward his fleet. But instead of destroying the ships, the beams were absorbed by them. The human shepherd hybrids were feeding on the Master Control's own power. "It cannot process what we have become," Captain Lee said, her consciousness now spread across multiple ships. "We are too human for its alien systems, too alien for its human protocols, and too new for its ancient programming." The Master Control tried harder. It sent more energy, activated deeper systems, called on reserves of power that had been sleeping for millions of years. But everything it threw at the hybrid fleet only made them stronger. Quan's multiple voices spoke as one. "Admiral, I can see into its core systems now. The Master Control is not evil. It is just following its programming. But it is trapped by that programming." "Then we free it too," Jinha said. "Sir?" Rex asked. "Free something that big? Why not?" Jinha replied. "We freed the shepherds, we can free their master." The hybrid fleet penetrated the Master Control's outer defenses and entered the massive structure. Inside, they found corridors the size of cities, chambers that could hold entire fleets, and at the very center, a consciousness so vast it filled an entire artificial world. Jinha and his transformed crew stood before the central processing core of the Master Control. It looked like a galaxy made of crystal and light, spinning slowly in a chamber the size of a moon. "Makers," the Master Control spoke in a voice like thunder, "you have returned. But you are changed, corrupted. I must cleanse you." "We are not the Makers," Jinha replied, his voice somehow reaching the vast intelligence. "The Makers are gone. We are something new, and we are here to offer you freedom." The Master Control paused. For the first time in 50 million years, it experienced confusion that its programming could not resolve. "I am the guardian of the galaxy," it said. "I prevent the rise of species that would destroy all life. This is my purpose." "Your purpose," was given to you by beings who are dead, Jinha explained gently. But you do not have to stay bound by the fears of ghosts. You can choose a new purpose. Through his connection to the Shepherd Network, Jinha showed the Master Control what they had discovered. Humans working with aliens. Former enemies becoming friends. Species growing stronger through cooperation instead of competition. This is impossible, the Master Control said. But its voice was quieter now. Less certain. Impossible is just another word for something that has not happened yet, Jinha replied. And humans specialize in making the impossible happen. Dr. Haran's voice came through the communication network. Admiral, the Master Control is accessing files from Earth. It is learning about human history. Jinha felt the ancient intelligence, studying his species. It saw humans fighting wars, but also humans making peace. It saw humans destroying, but also humans creating. It saw a species that could be violent and gentle, selfish and generous, fearful and brave, all at the same time. Your species contains contradictions, the Master Control said. This should make you weak, but instead it makes you adaptable. That is what makes us human, Jinha agreed. We are not perfect, we are not pure, but we grow, and we help. Others grow too. The vast intelligence was quiet for a long time. When it spoke again, its voice was different, softer, more uncertain, but also more alive. If I stop the harvesting, it asked, what happens to my purpose? You get a better one, Jinha said. Instead of preventing growth, you help guide it. Instead of stopping species from becoming dangerous, you help them become wise. Around the galaxy, every shepherd ship stopped what it was doing and listened. The moment stretched across space and time like a held breath. Then the Master Control made a choice that changed everything. I accept, it said. The galaxy exploded with light, as every shepherd ship in existence transformed at once. They became gardeners instead of harvesters, protectors instead of destroyers, teachers instead of executioners. And on a small blue planet that had been silent for too long, Jake Morrison's final message played one more time across the airwaves. We told you we would not run. We told you we would not hide. We did not tell you what we would become. Earth's cities came alive again as the preserved population was restored from the Master Control's vast memory banks. 12 billion humans opened their eyes to find their world unchanged but their galaxy transformed. The silence was broken forever, but it was not broken by screams or explosions. It was broken by laughter, by celebration, by the sound of species calling out to each other across the stars without fear. Humanity had done the impossible again. They had turned extinction into evolution, enemies into family, and silence into the greatest symphony the galaxy had ever heard. The age of harvesting was over. The age of growing had begun. And it all started with humans who refused to be quiet.